Well, hello, hello, hello. Much love to you all. May God bless you all. Hit that like button, share this out. 10:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. I'll be live for church. Really important to come into church. That's 10:30 a.m. Eastern. I'll have a couple links that I'm going to share at the end of this. It pops up at the end of the video for some things we're going to talk about. But we've been talking about this for a while now. This picture is from 2021, but it was a surprise tornado on that day, as there was a surprise tornado yesterday. Independence Day celebrations were abruptly disrupted in parts of Kentucky as a surprise tornado tore through the region, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. We've been talking about this a lot, how a lot of the systems have been hitting to where there's really no alert. And this unexpected twister, it struck and it went from 86 miles per hour up to 110, reaching speeds of 95 miles per hour. The tornado carved through a part of the Louisville's Parkland neighborhood in Jefferson County. It uprooted trees, covered the roads, down power lines, removed part of the roof over Shiloh Baptist Church. So, you know, it said before the Independence Day storm, Jefferson County has not seen a tornado since July of 1997. Um, so, but historically, they're no strangers, Kentucky is, to severe storms and tornadoes, but this in particular region hasn't had one since 1997. That was, that went through that land. Um, these continued tornadoes just coming out of nowhere and no alarm. On Telegram, I've alerted a couple people before, and the weather hasn't told them, and then they go and turn on their weather radio, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, and they got to hurry and hide inside the closet. This, it's just like the book of Job. God came out of the sky in a whirlwind with no warning. um, a lot of the storms anymore, they're not only intensified, there's not a whole lot of warning behind a lot of these storms that are coming. A lot of our weather systems are failing tremendously. So, this is a really key thing that I want to talk about here. This goes with the video we did a year ago, and this video here called "The Vatican Involved with UFOs, Bees Dying Off, Deception is Here." The first 16 minutes is about the importance of bees. I'll put a link at the end of this. I really suggest watching this, even if you have, watch it anyways. The last 5 minutes is the Vatican news from a year ago, which is now old. But this is really important because without bees, a lot of things will happen, guys. And it explains in that video. A lot of things will happen without bees. Bees are extremely important to the environment. And this is not just the first time. And of course, these things are not talked about a lot, but Beekeeper looks for an answer after 1.2 million bees suddenly die. This isn't the only report. There's a lot of other reports of bees just dropping dead, where they're saying up most to half, even 80%, in some regions are completely gone. I still see bees, but I don't see as many as used to. I remember as a kid, there'd be swarms of them. Because as a boy, we would poke at a hornet's nest or something. But she usually hears the millions of bees in her 40 or so colonies buzzing around about. But on that day, there was only silence. So, of course, the only way that she could describe it is an apocalyptic eerie, um, as all of a sudden all these bees are dead. So, according to LaDonna, there was no sign of disease or pest. What's more, an inspection conducted by Ontario's Ministry of Agriculture in late May concluded her hives and bees were in good health. So it's very possible they went in here, this Ministry of Agriculture, and maybe actually killed them themselves. But she's facing 50% of her operation as a loss. This is up in Ontario. But on that day, piles of dead bees were scattered around the property, some still alive but suffering and barely moving. In a total, 50% of her colonies had died, amounting to 1.2 million bees. I keep beating myself up, thinking this is my fault, something I had done wrong, the lady had said, but The abrupt and violent nature of the deaths, combined with the discussion with other local beekeepers, led her to conclude something in the environment could be to blame. It was an acute kill, which is most likely from some type of chemical used in the area. So they're catching on to this. Other beekeepers were saying, hey, I don't think this is your fault. And guys, this is not the first. There's lots of reports. You got to dig deep. You're not going to find just like in the first searches. You got to dig deep about bees being killed off for quite some time now. I mean, like I said, this video that I showed you, this is a year ago where we're talking about it, and it just, oh, man, it just continues, guys. I mean, I go over lots of things in this video about bees, but there's many difficult chemicals and products currently on the market, she said, adding the hopes the results of the test could help identify and eliminate the source of the problem. So, that's definitely really alarming. So you get this guy over here. He said, this Doug guy, his name's Doug Thompson, is neighboring the northeastern Ontario community of Whitefish, is concerned about what happened to his fellow beekeeper and her creatures. His 80 or so beehives were inspected a day before LaDonna's was in earlier May, and both received a clean bill of health. And here we are 2 weeks later. My hives are progressively growing, and hers have dwindled to almost nothing, he said. It is definitely something in her area. Thompson said that if this had happened to other types of livestock, it would have alarmed the general public. Very true. All the chickens, all the pigs, all the cows dying off, it alarms, but people don't realize how serious bees really are. So if you were to post a picture of a field of dead cows, it would start a conversation. A bunch of empty boxes doesn't really get that kind of response. But I really do think people need to be very alert to that. Bees are very, very important to our agriculture, guys. I mean, especially with the food industry, bees are very, very important. So also we see a violent lava fountaining at Etna volcano. I have a video I'll show of this. This was a pretty massive eruption from Mount Etna. It's a very active one, but also at the same time, there's a lot of, as we have over here, we'll talk about in a little bit, the volcano over at Stromboli is also showing some activity. So this was a pretty good eruption. As we've said, I got a video down here. Crazy stuff. So, a lot of activity going on throughout the world. So, like I said, at the same time, there's a red alert at Stromboli volcano after increased activity. So, now you got this huge volcano going off as well, too, which is raising some alarms. As you can tell, there's a lot of smoke. Lots of activity. So, little update. Some Caribbean islands see almost total destruction after Hurricane Beryl plummeted through a lot of these small little islands. It was says at least 3 islands reported more than 90% of the homes and buildings were either destroyed or severely damaged after it ran through there. The Eye of Beryl, still a Category 4 storm, raked Jamaica's coast on Wednesday afternoon and was expected to pass near the Cayman Islands Thursday morning before making landfall in the Yucatan on Friday morning. The damage estimated for the windwards were where Beryl made landfall over these islands are only a very preliminary look. The Disaster Management Agency Executive Director Elizabeth Riley had said Beryl struck the islands with winds up to 150 miles per hour and higher, as the National Hurricane Center had warned that the winds could be up to 30% higher on top of hills and mountains. So, a lot of these areas are saying they have got almost complete destruction that had happened. So, we're going to go over a few earthquakes that had happened today, only some predominant ones. Fiji, hour and 31 minutes ago in the Fiji region, they had a 4.4. Kyrgyzstan had a 4.2. New Zealand had a 4.0. You got the Timor region, they had a 4.5. Mexico had a 4.1. This is at the this region here. Don't know how to say it. Then you had Central Peru, which has had a lot lately, as they had a 4.4. So also 4.4 around the same area in Mexico, Kyrgyzstan, and the Xinjiang China border had a 4.1. You see a lot of them offshore here in Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, offshore, a lot of 3.0s down in that area. So definitely. Then over here in Canada, you see a 4.0 that happened, a 4.8 in Indonesia. Siberia had a 4.4. 8 hours ago, a 4.2 in China, 4.9 in the Banda Sea. Mexico, that same region we've been talking about, they had a 4.0. And then the same region in China, but northern instead of southern is 4.2. Here's one of the big ones, the 5.0 in Papua New Guinea. I do believe the biggest one was, I do believe that was the biggest one for today, was that 5.0. And then you had the other one here at the southeast of the Loyal Islands. The Loyalty Islands had a 5.0 at the start of today. So a lot of them offshore here around this Mexico region that has happened. So be keeping your eyes out. Oh no, right here. Well, that was at yesterday, towards the end of yesterday. They had the 5.6 in Port Hardy, British Columbia. It's a pretty big one over there in Canada. So guys, like I said, I'll put the link. It'll pop up on the screen. It's really important to understand how important the bees are for our environment and for everything. So keep your eyes on the prize, Jesus Christ. Like I said, 10:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Please join us for church. If you haven't came to a service before, check it out. And just know, may not get notified. You can look in the description bar, the front of the page. I have links to my Rumble. I have links to my backup channel where I sometimes put Bible readings, and that backup channel is there for any emergency as well too. or our Telegram, which is a good way to get notified as well too. May God bless